Good afternoon. Welcome to today's yoga class. We're going to be doing a chair yoga. So this is a really great type of class for anyone who is dealing or recovering from injury, maybe has a little bit less mobility, doesn't really like getting down on the floor and back up, for pregnant folks, and anyone who's just looking for a little bit more chill, less physical yoga class. So I am going to find us a playlist and then I'm going to share it in the comments. So just bear with me for a moment. So you can see in the background, well, you can't because I'm in the way. I have a chair and a mat set up. You don't need to also have a mat. A chair is fine. We are going to be doing some standing poses. So if you are in your sock feet, you may want to have a chair. If you don't, or no, Nope. If you're in your sock feet, you may want to have a mat just for a little extra stability. If you don't have a mat, that's fine. Just put on some shoes or go barefoot just so you have a little bit of traction. Sock feet slip around, especially if you're on a wood or laminate floor like I am. If you're on carpet, you probably don't need anything at all. So I am going to share this playlist in the comments. I'm going to come back here while I do that, and then I'm going to share it in one of my groups, and then we shall get started. So, Spotify playlist. As always, you don't have to use these playlists, but they do really help to improve your experience, your class experience. So, I'm going to put chair yoga is live now. Post, and then I'm going to get my music started and we're going to get started. So we're going to begin in our chairs seated. So if you want to have a seat, making sure that your feet can place firmly on the floor. So if maybe your chair is a little high and your feet can't fit. If your feet can't fit on the floor, you've got a problem. If your feet don't touch the floor, you may want to get a book, footstool, something like that, just so you can firmly have your feet on the floor. But we're going to sit up nice and tall away from the back of our chair, ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips, letting our hands relax in our lap. And we're going to close our eyes or look down towards the floor. What we want to do here is remove visual distraction, which is why we close our eyes or look down. Hopefully there's not a whole lot going on the floor if you're looking down. So we can focus our attention inward, starting to notice our inhale and our exhale. And what I want you to pay attention to is where in your torso you feel that breath. Do maybe you feel your chest rising and falling? Maybe feel your ribs, maybe your lower abdomen, maybe all, maybe none. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just taking the time to pay attention and notice. At the same time, let's really think about relaxing through our jaw, relaxing our tongue. If your eyes are closed, relaxing the eyelids and the ocular muscles, knowing that sometimes we can feel like we're staring right at the back of our eyelids, even when our eyes are closed. So just try to soften everything. And if your eyes are open, just try to feel as though you're making your eyes dreamy. When your eyes are getting heavy and it's kind of hard to stay awake and they're only slightly open, everything's kind of fuzzy. One more deep breath in, and as we exhale, let's open our eyes or focus our gaze looking upwards. We're going to inhale, reaching our arms up overhead. Exhale, hands come down together. Again, inhaling and exhaling. I don't think we're going to have any kitty sightings today, so if you are anticipating that, you may be disappointed. Some of you will know my roof has been replaced this week. The shingles were reshingled. That's not the right verbiage, but you know what I mean. And so today is the first day the cats haven't been in hiding. One more time. Bring your hands down. We're going to bring one hand to our hip. Other hand's going to reach up. We're going to inhale, lifting up out of our chest and just over. And so they were very rambunctious this morning and early there this afternoon, lunchtime, and now they're passed out in bed. And other side, hand on the hip, reaching up and out, other ribs, and then over, trying to keep that shoulder softened. Back up nice and tall. One more time, either side, reaching up and over. And to the other side. You know, I think chair yoga sometimes gets a bad rap. People always think that it's just for older adults, but it's a really refreshing, especially if you work in an office or are at a computer. Everybody who works from home right now, let's bring our hands back. If you have a back on your chair, go ahead and grab those back rungs. If not, you're just going to reach energetically through your fingertips, and we're going to open through our chest as we lean forward ever so slightly, keeping those shoulders relaxed. But yeah, everyone who's working at home right now, who probably doesn't have the most ergonomic office space, even stopping and doing 5 or 10 minutes of chair yoga once or twice a day can do a lot to help limber you back up, because let's face it, a lot of people are working at their kitchen tables and they're working in not the best positions. So this can really help loosen things up. And it feels good. You don't have to change your clothes or anything. Let's do a couple more shoulder rolls. One more. And then we're going to bring our hands onto our thighs, fingertips facing one another. You're going to press down and you're going to round up. Pressing down, rounding up. So much like the roof saga, those of you who have been following my ring light saga, I have a lovely ring light that I got for Christmas that has stopped working, and then it started working again, and then it stopped working again, and I need to submit a warranty claim. Anyway, I ordered another ring light because this lighting is not very good, and it should be here on Tuesday. That's the moral of the story. Hopefully next week our lighting will be much nicer. One more time. Coming back up nice and tall. Again, ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips. We're going to sit back in our chair a little bit just so that our glutes are firmly on the chair. And we're going to start by just extending one leg and then rebending. Extend and bend. So this is going to be our variation of a spinal balance. We're starting with the legs. Maybe you want to stick just with the leg, but if you want to add on, you can reach the opposite arm up. So we extend one leg and the opposite arm reaches up. So right leg, left leg, right arm. So it's a little bit of a different spinal balance, but we're still working in a diagonal manner, which is challenging both the right and left sides of our brain. So if you find this really challenging, I would suggest that you stick with just the leg and then extend the leg and then opposite, reach the other one up. So you're just going to take it more slowly. It's really important that we do try to get the hang of this diagonal movement, because it helps balance out the right and left sides of our brain. We know that most of us are predominantly right-brained or predominantly left-brained. So movements like this can help balance that out a little bit. Let's do one more. Coming on down, you may want to leave your legs together, or it might be more comfortable for you to bring your feet a little bit further apart. You can scooch a little bit ahead on your chair. We're going to inhale up. We're going to exhale forward, fold. So depending, you may want your arms on the outside of your legs if your feet are close together, or on the inside if your legs are further apart. You're just going to choose what feels best for you through your hips, through your legs, letting your head hang heavy. If your fingertips touch the floor like mine, that's fine. If they don't, that's okay too. Taking a few big breaths, thinking about delivering that oxygen to your low back, releasing some tension. Nice big breaths. Really try to let your head hang here. Don't hold your head up. You're going to pinch off the back of your neck. One more nice deep breath in, and as we exhale, using our hands to help us if we need to, putting our hands onto our thighs very gently, coming back up into a seated position. We can open up our legs a little bit wider if that feels okay for you, or keeping them close. We're going to come into a seated moonflower. So we're going to bring our arms up, and we're going to bend our elbows in, squeezing between our shoulder blades, extending and bending. One more time. Then we're going to move these into sunflowers. We're going to reach our arms up and sweeping around. One more time. Coming back up nice and tall in our chair, we're going to extend our arms out into sun pose. You guys are going to stay here. I'm just going to go check the comments really quickly to make sure everything's going okay. Okay. Oh, Lorene, don't freak me out like that. All right, wonderful. And bringing our hands up, palms coming together, relaxing our shoulders. We're going to press our thumbs into our sternum, closing our eyes, or again, looking down towards the floor if that makes us more comfortable. So we take a moment to focus in on our breathing once again. Maybe now noticing if we can feel our heart beating through our thumbs. Again, no right or wrong answer, just noticing. One more nice deep breath in. And as we exhale, relaxing our hands down by our sides, and we're going to come to a standing position. So we're just going to stand up, and we're going to come stand beside our chair, making some clothing adjustments as needed. So I'm going to leave my chair this way, so the seat and the back. You may find that partway through you might want to change it so that the back is beside you. Totally up to you. But we're going to start facing our chair. We're going to step back with one foot. Doesn't matter which one. We're going to have that heel lifted, and we're going to come into a little tiny standing lunge. So my front knee is bending ever so slightly. Knee is bent, heel is lifted, and we're going to straighten. We're going to bend and straighten. Just a teeny tiny lunge. Mostly just trying to warm up through our hip flexors, through our leg. Let's do one more. And then we're going to step in. We're going to step back with the opposite foot, lifting that heel, little tiny bend, and straighten. Again, just warming up. If you want, you can extend one or both arms. If you feel more steady with your hand on the chair, hand on your hip, then do that. Let's do two more. So this is warming up through our leg. This is also helping stretch through our foot a little bit. One more. And we'll step in. This time we're going to step back with that first leg again. We're going to come into warrior one. So my foot is squarely on the floor. It's at about a 45-degree angle. I'm going to square my shoulders towards the front of my mat, bending through the front knee, holding onto my chair, or extending my arms up, or maybe one of each. Again, we're going to inhale, straighten that front leg. Exhale, bend. Just tiny. And if that's not working for you, just hold in position. One more. And then if you have your arms extended, we're going to sweep the arm around. You're going to open up through the hip, coming into warrior two. So my front foot is in line with my back heel. My hands are extended, or my hand is on the chair, other hand on my hip, wherever feels comfortable for you. Here we're going to inhale, straighten that front leg. Exhale, bend. If that doesn't feel good for you, just hold your warrior two. One more time. Holding here. Now we may need to make a few adjustments. We're going to come into a side angle. So you may need to bring your chair a little bit closer to you so that my foot, you can see, is right under the rungs or the legs of my chair. Hand on the chair, extend the arm up, or maybe hand on the seat of the chair. If it doesn't feel okay to have your arm extended, just keep it on your hip. Front knee is still bent. But remember, right here works just as well. This chair is really here to help us find our perfect placement in this pose today. And then we're going to stay right where we are, except we're going to straighten that front leg. So we're coming into our version of triangle. I have to tell you, the day, was it one day or two? I don't know. When we did the chair yoga portion of my RYT training, it's one of my favorite days because we got a chair. Normally we have to sit on the floor all the time, and that just kills my back. Anyway, the day we got to do chair yoga, we got our chair, so we had something to sit in. And also, this is just such a lovely way to do yoga. Let's rebend that front knee. It's coming back up to the back of our chair if we'd come down to the seat, and we're going to step in. I'm going to turn my chair around so I don't have to turn my back on you. And we're going to step back into that warrior one on the other side, squaring your shoulders to the front of your mat, little bend in the knee, hand on the chair, or extending, whichever works better for you. But yes, I thoroughly enjoyed chair yoga. I also really enjoyed pre-postnatal because it was just such lovely days. There's no crazy arm balances and forearm stands. It's just all nice. Let's inhale, straighten, exhale, bend. Remember, if this isn't working for you, don't do it. One more time. And we're going to open up at the arms, opening at the hip. Hand on the chair or extending. If you don't feel you need that support, feel free to extend your arms. If you feel like you do, then keep your hand on the chair. Once again, if it's okay for you, straightening and bending. Only you know if this is going to work for you. One more time. And then we've reached that point where we may have to make a few chair adjustments. So once again, I'm going to bring that chair further over my foot. I went a little too far. Getting the knee bent, maybe I keep my hand on the back of the chair, coming into my side angle. Maybe it feels more comfortable for me to bring my hand down to that chair seat. Finding the position that works for you. Arm can extend or it can stay at your hip. Front knee is still bent. You can look up, straight ahead, down, basically whatever feels most natural for your neck. And then basic same position, but we're going to straighten that front leg. So if you had to come up to the back of your chair, please do. We want to press into the big toe of that front leg so that we're not locking through our knee. But if that's still a little bit too intense, you can rebend it a bit more. I'm not going to tell. If you do have an arm extended, go ahead and bring that down. Rebend that front knee. Use your hands to help you come up into a standing position. And we're going to step in, rolling our shoulders, finding our way into mountain. Maybe closing our eyes or looking down towards the floor. Beginning to notice our breath. You don't have to be sorry, Lorraine. I'm just still traumatized from that day I taught a whole class with my microphone off. Let's open our eyes. We're going to come into tree pose. So we've got our chair right next to us for support. I'm actually going to bring mine a little tiny bit further ahead just because that's going to be more natural for me. So whichever side of your chair you're on, we're going to start by making like a right angle with our feet. Your heels don't have to touch, depending on how your hips are feeling. It's not going to be comfortable for you to have your feet totally together. So this works well. Hand is on the chair. You can stay right here. If you want to challenge yourself a bit more, you can lift up onto your toes. You can stay here or bring your heel onto your ankle. Or you can come up onto your thigh. Think about opening through the hip. You can extend one arm. You can extend both if you don't feel like you need that chair for support. But I'm going to stay right here. We're going to roll our shoulders, staying nice and tall. Firm abdominals. Chin is lifted. Maybe you just have that one lone tree branch out to the side. That's okay. Every tree looks different, but they're all lovely. Maybe you want to challenge yourself a bit today. So perhaps you're just keeping one finger on the chair. That's enough to really anchor you in place. But I can still feel my ankle doing all those little micro adjustments, which is its job. People often mistake those little adjustments for thinking they have bad balance. No, that's your ankle doing what it's supposed to do. If it didn't do that, then you would be in trouble. All right, let's lower the leg. Nice deep breath in. Exhale down. And again, deep breath in. And exhale. One more time. We're going to come into mountain, but before we do, we're either going to have to move our chair or move our person or move both so that we're ready for when we go to the other tree pose. But once you are in place, go ahead, roll your shoulders, little bend in the knee, holding onto your chair if you need, into mountain. Closing your eyes, or again, looking down towards the floor. You may even notice yourself swaying a little bit front to back or side to side. What that is your body tuning into the vibrational energy in the room you're in. If you don't feel yourself moving at all, that's okay too. But just so those who may be like me feel themselves moving a little, nothing's wrong. All right, let's open our eyes or focus our gaze and making that 90-degree angle at our heel. Remember, your heels don't have to actually be together. We're not ballerinas. You might be a ballerina. I'm not. So you can keep your feet a little bit further apart if that gives you more stability. Staying here or maybe lifting up onto the toes. Maybe it's okay for you to bring, that chair's a little close, bring your heel on to your ankle or maybe up onto your shin. Notice my foot is below my knee. You don't want to put any pressure on your knee joint. Speaking of knees, there should still be a little tiny bend in it. Standing nice and tall, holding onto our chair or not. Again, maybe just that one fingertip is all you need for your support today. Maybe your tree doesn't have many branches. Maybe it has one. Maybe it has two. Who knows? And the words of Bob Ross, you're just a happy little tree. Just a happy little tree. And then let's relax our foot down. We're going to come into our chair yoga version of down dog. So I'm going to give you a couple options. Option one is to have the back of the chair facing you, hands on the back of the chair, stepping back into an L stretch. This is our standing version of down dog. If you want to go a little bit deeper, you can put your hands on the seat of the chair, but you're still forming that 90-degree angle at the hip. You're not coming forward into some sort of plank, and you're not pushing way back. And if you feel like you want to go a little bit further again, you can come down onto your forearms. That's going to put more pressure on your hamstrings. Personally, I prefer here. You can feel that nice back stretch. And if you want, you can step one foot back, staying on your toes and easing up and back. I'm going to come a little bit further forward so you can see. So my heel isn't coming all the way to the floor, but I'm getting a nice calf stretch. And then you can switch sides, so stepping the other foot back. If this isn't working for you, just stay in that stationary L stretch. Clearly, I should have had a bobby pin, everybody, but I didn't bring one. One more. Then stepping in, bending through the knees, using the chair to help you if you need to, coming all the way up to standing. We're going to come into pyramids. We did triangle, so now it's time for another triangle-like position. I thought I had a good thing to say there, and then I lost it. Excuse me. So we're going to step one foot forward, Once again, you're going to have to play with it whether you want the back of your chair or the seat of the chair. But my feet are hip distance apart. You can see that they're not very far apart. I don't know, maybe 8 inches. Toes are all pointing forward. And I'm going to start to hinge over that front leg, bringing my hand to the back of the chair or down onto the seat of the chair. I'm pressing into the big toe on both feet to help keep a micro bend in the knee. Should feel a stretch all along the back of that front leg. I haven't mentioned it lately, and I don't think you can see really. This chair was always our painting chair. So there's paint swatches all over it, but it's the best wooden sturdy chair I have. And I really should refinish it and paint it if we're going to be doing at-home classes for months yet. All right, let's stand back up nice and slowly. Step the other foot in and step back. Hip distance apart, toes are forward, folding over that front leg, hand on the back of your chair or on the seat. Again, pressing into those big toes and trying to keep good spinal alignment so you're not just rounding through the back here. Then very slowly, bringing your hands up to the back, stepping in, and we're going to have a seat in our chair. There's lots of different ways we can do a sort of child's pose in our chair, but today we're just going to come down onto our forearms, and we're just going to relax here. And if you feel like you want to go a bit deeper, you can fold forward completely. But if you have blood pressure issues, you might be more comfortable keeping your head up higher. Up to you. And let's slowly come right back up to a seated position, rolling our shoulders, letting our hands rest on our lap, closing our eyes or looking down towards the floor. So we take a moment to focus in on our breathing again. Noticing your inhales, your exhales. Coming back up, we're nice and tall. And we're going to lower our ear towards the shoulder. I think I just got a text message from my eye doctor telling me it was time for an appointment. Slowly lift into the other side. Gently lift one more time either side. Just lowering your ear towards the shoulder. And to the other side. And we'll lift the head. Let's lower our chin towards the chest. Gently lifting, and then we'll do a little semicircle. So ear towards the shoulder, gently chin towards the chest. To the other side. Slowly back down and around. And then gently bringing your head back up to neutral. Whew, my words, I lost them. Okay, we are going to come into a seated eagle pose. So we're going to reach one arm across the front, holding just into a shoulder stretch. So depending on your mobility through your shoulders, this may be your version of eagle, and that is absolutely perfect. If you feel like maybe you could go a little bit deeper, we can bring the opposite arm on top. So we're making like a big X and give yourself a hug. This is for all my huggers who haven't been able to hug anyone outside of their house or their bubble house in months. Give yourself a little hug. It's not quite the same, but it's something. A little pat. So maybe you want to stay here, or perhaps you want to start to bring the backs of your hands towards one another. They don't actually have to meet up. If they do, that's great. But just moving towards one another, you're going to feel that stretch through the back of the shoulders, up through the back of the neck, sometimes even in through the jaw. And if you were blessed with orangutan arms, like I was, you might be able to bring your palms together. Wherever you are, try to lift your elbows just a little tiny bit. And then let's bring the elbows in, rounding through our back. And then coming back up, lifting those elbows a little bit. Remember which arm is on top, and then release. The arm that was on top is now going to reach across into a shoulder stretch. Did you see I had to stop and think about that for a second? Maybe you're staying here, or maybe you're bringing your arm across. Give yourself a hug. And then remember that just how your pose looked on one side is not necessarily how it's going to look on the second. So maybe it's going to look completely different, and that's okay. Just finding your version on this second side. Maybe lifting those elbows a little bit higher. Then rounding through the back, bringing your elbows in. And coming back up, lifting the elbows a tiny, tiny bit. And then once again, coming down. And then we release, going right into some shoulder rolls. And then remember that chest expansion from our warm-up where we reached our fingertips back or grabbed onto the seat of our chair. We're going to do that again. So we're going to come forward in our seat a little bit, either reaching energetically through your fingertips, which just means you're reaching through those fingers, or grabbing onto the back of your chair, leaning forward, thinking about opening through the chest, through your collarbones. Big heart opener. Coming back up nice and tall, and then either lowering down onto your forearms or folding forward into our forward fold. Arms are on the outside or inside of your legs, just whichever is more comfortable for you. Letting your head hang. Think about that oxygen being delivered to your low back. If you did forward fold, bring your hands back up onto your thighs, and then we're all going to gently come back up into a seated position. We're going to move into a seated pigeon. So we're going to extend one leg. Doesn't matter which one because we're going to do both sides eventually. We're going to take the opposite leg. You're going to cross your ankle over your shin. If without using your hands, you can bring your ankle up above your knee, you may do that. Again, if without using your hands, you can bend the opposite knee to come in to this version of a seated pigeon, you can. But if you're going to have to pull on your leg to bring it up, I would rather you stay down here. We don't want to risk any injury. We want to keep our foot flexed regardless of which position we're in. That keeps the muscles of our lower leg active. It helps protect our knee joint. And if you are up into this position like I'm in, if you wish to come down onto your forearm and just apply a little bit of pressure on your calf and your thigh, it's not on your knee, on your calf and your thigh, to further deepen the stretch. You may, but you don't have to. We want to feel a stretch through our glutes, and depending on what's going on with you, you may feel a pretty intense stretch down here. Remember, there's never any point in going deeper into a pose if you're already feeling the pose where you are. Just because a deeper version is offered doesn't mean you have to take it. Doesn't mean that you should take it either. And then there is the rare occasion where a deeper version of the pose actually feels less intense for somebody than another. And I would argue that in that case, you just stay at the one that's a little bit more intense. But you do you. You find out what works best for you. We want to leave our yoga classes feeling energized and relaxed, not injured. But we are going to stay here for a little bit longer. This targets muscle group that isn't very keen on relaxing. So we have to hold here a bit longer in order for it to get the hint that it is in fact time to relax a bit. All right, let's slowly come down out of our version of seated pigeon. And we're going to extend the opposite leg, ankle over the shin. Remember, if you need to use your hands to move your leg, that means you shouldn't. Lifting it up above the knee or bending the knee. Maybe choosing to apply a little bit of pressure on this side. So this side I had a whole lot of adjustments at osteopath on Wednesday, and I'm still feeling a little tiny bit sore, so I don't want to push it, so I'm just not going to apply any pressure there. So if you're not applying pressure on the leg, ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips, keep that good posture. Foot is still flexed, protecting that knee joint. Let's slowly bring that leg down. Sitting nice and tall, we're going to inhale. As we exhale, we're going to turn to look to the side wall. Very slowly back to the front. Inhale, exhale, look to the other side. Notice we're not looking over our shoulder. We're just looking to the side wall. We want to keep this a nice safe spinal twist. Slowly back to the front. Inhale, exhale, turn once again. Side wall. Relax your shoulders, relax your jaw. Slowly to the front. Exhale, looking to the other side. Oh, guess what, everybody? Hi, Clara. Slowly turning back to the front. And we're going to stay a little bit forward in our chairs here. And you may need to use your hands to help you, and that's okay. But we're just going to lift the leg up, hugging towards our torso, lowering down, hugging the opposite leg in. If it feels more comfortable for you to come back in your chair, make sure my mic's not going to get messed up. You can. And if you have a yoga strap or something nearby, 1 second, a belt, a towel, a scarf, anything like that can be helpful here, because then you can use that to help you. This is actually my yoga mat strap, but it works fine. But you don't have to use anything at all. Hands behind the leg. Last one. Then as we lower down, we're going to come onto our forearms or forward fold. Letting your head hang heavy. And then slowly, let's all come up onto our forearms. I'm going to turn to the side because I'm going to demonstrate this. So maybe your flat back is going to be here, or maybe you want to come into full airplane where we reach our arms back, palms are facing the ceiling, and our torso is coming more in line with our legs. As we inhale, we're going to come up into chair. So chair, coming forward into airplane, or our other option, of course, is our version of chair, down to our forearms, keeping our chest lifted. Chair, airplane, chair. Exhale, airplane, squeezing those shoulder blades together, or still squeezing if your hands or forearms are on your legs. Slowly come up. One more time. Then coming up, hands heart center, relaxing your shoulders. This time we can come back, and I'll even let you lean back on the back of your chair if you have one. So we close our eyes, pressing our thumbs into our sternum, feeling our feet squarely on our floor, on some yoga blocks, a stool, books, whatever we have. Taking a few more deep breaths, and when you're ready, you can relax your hands on your lap. As we make our way into final relaxation, if you would prefer to move down to your mat into a lying position, please feel free to take the time to do that now. And start to pay attention to your inhale and your exhale. Starting at the top of your head, as you move down, relaxing through the forehead, the eyelids, the space between the eyes. Relaxing your cheek, lips, tongue, jaw. Even feeling relaxation flowing through your throat, down your neck. Easing down your right shoulder, upper arm, elbow, forearm, right wrist, palm, right thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, the whole right hand. Then to the left shoulder, upper arm, elbow, forearm, the left wrist, the palm of the left hand, left thumb, first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, the whole left hand, the whole right arm, the whole left arm, both arms together. Coming back to our chest, through our diaphragm, ribs, relaxing into our abdomen, hips, pelvis, buttock, right thigh, right knee, space behind the knee, lower leg, ankle, the right heel, sole of the foot, big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, the whole right foot, the left thigh, left knee, space behind the knee, left lower leg, ankle, heel, sole of the foot, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, the left foot, the whole right leg, the whole left leg, both legs together, the whole torso, and the whole body, noticing the whole body relaxing, the whole body relaxing. Bringing your attention once again back to your breath, your inhale, your exhale. Maybe counting the length of your inhale, the length of your exhale. Not trying to change it. Just noticing the pattern of your breath. Is your inhale longer than your exhale? Is your exhale longer than your inhale? Are they both equal? Does it change from breath to breath? Slowly start to bring our attention back to the room, finding a tall posture in our seat, allowing our eyes to gently flutter open, readjusting to the light in the room. If you are in a seated position, a lying position, gently making your way up to a seated position. We're going to inhale as we roll our shoulders, exhale, roll. One more time. Then we're going to reach our arms up overhead, bringing our palms together, relaxing through our shoulders, and then reaching our arms back down. Again, now inhale up, bringing our fingertips together, pressing those fingertips, feeling how it engages the muscles in your arms, and then relax down. Again, inhale, lifting up, fingertips come together. Exhaling down. One more time. This time we're going to bring the whole palm together. As we exhale, bring our hands down to heart center. The light in me honors and respects the light in you. And together we seal our practice with Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. A couple of things I want to remind you of before we go is that number one, right here on my Facebook page, if you're watching this on Facebook, if you go to the videos tab, you can find playlists of all of the yoga classes and all of the low impact classes. So if you ever want to go back and repeat one, you don't have to go scrolling through my news feed for decades to find them. You can just go right to that videos tab, and there's 2 playlists I think are at the top. Secondly, if you have friends who are jealous that you've been getting to do these yoga classes and low impact classes, but they don't have Facebook, they're all on my YouTube page as well. So I'm going to add my YouTube page link in the comments as soon as we finish here. So if you have friends who aren't on Facebook but have high-speed internet and can view videos on YouTube, you can send them my YouTube channel link and they can do all of them right there. So just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that. Other than that, have a wonderful weekend. You're welcome, Jill. You're welcome, Ellen. Oh, it's not very nice. So Ellen you had to stay inside and hang out with me. You're welcome, Joan. Have a good weekend, everybody. I will see you next week. Bye.